Oh, Emma.
Please welcome back Emma Willmann.
Oh, Emma.
You're Emma. Oh, okay, Emma.
Here we go. Let's get crazy.
Oh, Emma.
Today I'm talking to dancer, actress, singer. I was going to try to say them all in one word to not put one first. Dancer, actress, singer, Gabrielle Ruiz.
Hey guys.
Hey.
What's up?
I wanted
What's
to say
up,
this.
lover?
Hey,
Hello, my
lover.
lover.
So I was reading interviews that you did. And one of the interviews you were
God.
talking about being on Law and Order Special Victims Unit and how Marissa Haggerty was giving and thoughtful.
Yes, she
I
was.
wanted to say
Is.
that is exactly my experience with you. You were so giving and thoughtful when we did the audition, the callback audition.
Oh,
You
which
remember
was
that?
on like Skype.
Yes.
And I
It
think
was-
you were sitting like at the top of your couch, weren't you?
Oh, you could tell.
No, you told us.
Oh, good. Oh, oh, I thought I had it covered. I spent hours. Yes, I was. Oh, good. Okay, good. I spent that would have been, I would have like closed my computer and like never talked to anyone.
Quit. You would have quit.
The connection's bad. Yeah, I was sitting on top of the couch and I had this like my computer propped up because it was the only space in my apartment that didn't have, it had like a clean wall background. So it was in the best light. So I was like very uncomfortably propped up. When you did that. I'm so
But you
glad
nailed
couldn't
it.
walk.
You booked it.
You were so nice. So
Oh, thanks, dude.
in acting, a lot of times it'll, when you read with someone, there's been a couple times where I've like read, I've read with like a producer if it's gotten close to something, but I've never gotten to the point where I've read with someone on the show.
Yeah.
And you were this is what you did that I was just like, I remembered it even this before I knew what would happen, but we were doing it and then there's a bunch of people around Gabrielle and then they kind of like were talking with themselves and then you looked at me and you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like, and you're kind of like, I got you. That's how it felt.
I got
It
you. I'll
was
take
just
care
so
of you.
nice.
Oh, thanks, bro.
And you did it on the season too. It was so interesting watching your face change when you would go in and out of character because your eyes would change.
That is, I think, the best backhanded compliment when fans are like, I had no idea you were so nice. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. I'm not always. But
I'm like, I'm sorry to disappoint you that I'm not Valencia in real life, but I did find inspiration from certain people close to me. So at
do
least
those
I can
people,
switch that
do they
up.
know that?
My sister, yeah. Yeah.
You will tell
But
her?
she also, but she's like Valencia. She doesn't understand what it is. Like what is,
Right.
and not necessarily like mean or malicious. And I don't think Valencia is either, but
Sure.
just very honest and will throw you under the bus for your own good. Like
So you would tell her like, I'm getting aspects of this character from you.
you. Yeah. And she was like, why? And I was like, because you're stern, you're tough, she like doesn't get jokes all the time. And then when she does, like she laughs like really later, like a lot later by herself.
I've been guilty of that too sometimes. Like if it's something that's like a pun, it'll take me a really long time to get it.
To get the riddle and get why. And then like you're running it in your head and the timing. It's all about the timing, It's all about the timing.
It's all about the timing. It's all about the
And
timing.
so for my sister, the timing is super slow. And she is just moody. She's a moody mouse and I love her. And she just takes things so seriously and it's my favorite. So there was
Was
a
she
lot
like that?
of,
When you guys were kids, was she like that too?
oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I just remember she was a pusher. When she would get mad at me, she would push me. And there was this one
Wow.
time I finally was the same. I was like, I'm 2 years younger than her. I was finally the same size, like around 12 or 13. And I anchored my heels in and I pushed her back.
You'd been waiting for that push.
I was ready. I was like, this is the time. This is my moment. And she never pushed me again.
Do you remember how she reacted? Was she like, what are you doing?
She was inside the closet doors. So like the door was open. We were probably fighting over clothes.
Sure.
And she fell on, like her back fell onto the clothes and she like kind of had to hold on. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she just kind of walked away a little, with her tail tucked between her fucking legs. And I was just like, yeah.
That's
Because my
right.
mom says out of the two of us, every time like I get upset or angry or something or get tough, she's like, you're so cute when you're tough. So cute. And I'm like, that is not a compliment.
Right. That's not what you want to get
a
when you're tough.
compliment.
Also, she hadn't seen you push yet. She hadn't seen the push
I
it.
haven't pushed her yet.
Was your sister with you when you went to the play, when you went to the Broadway play at 10 or 12, whatever the age was that you went to the play and you were like, this is what I want to do? Was your sister with you guys?
I don't think so. I think it was my dad that took me to go see
Mm.
the Chorus Line in South Texas. And like, there's not a lot of musical theater in South Texas, period, or at least there wasn't when I was there. And it was a show. It's a show about dancers. So I'm first a dancer, and
Right.
there was one Latina in the show. There still is in the storyline, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't understand that I could do that until
Right.
I went to like Broadway in New York, saw a musical that had kids my age, or at least they were probably 20 playing 13-year-olds.
Sure.
And
That
and then we were
always
getting-
that's never ceases to make me do a double take. Even now when I see and will like Google and the person's 28, it always
like, what? You're playing
What?
a high schooler.
it's weird. And sometimes then people who are younger playing old. The age weirdness is still
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can get strange.
Like Mean Girls. When you think about the movie Mean Girls, you're like,
Right.
You're almost 30.
Good movie, too.
Great movie. And irregardless, I remember seeing them at the stage door, like all the cast members coming and going, and like somebody got on a skateboard and laughed. And then I was like, wait a minute, I think they have a show later. And that's when like the curtain was revealed and I realized people do this for a job.
Right. Right.
And I told my mom that, and she was like, well, you have to get into choir if you want to do that. And so I did.
So she was encouraging right away. She wasn't like, oh, it's a job.
No, they were always like game for it. They were always game for it. I was very lucky.
Was your sister, when you were like starting to do shows and stuff like that, was she outgoing in her own way, or did people start going, oh, you're Gabrielle's sister?
Like in high school, or you mean
Yeah, like when you were
college, or-
kids.
We both danced in the same studio. She was like the sports varsity person. Like she was varsity volleyball, varsity softball, and really good at it. And I wanted to play sports, but there was no time with the dance world. And so I picked dance instead. And then we did go through a tough time when I was in New York and like never available to go home, couldn't afford it, period.
Totally. Yeah.
And she was in DC. They still live in DC. She still lives in DC with her family. And she just didn't comprehend that I wasn't necessarily putting family first. I was surviving as an artist. I don't know if you've gone through that.
I relate to that 100%. And it's so hard to explain because it's like, I mean, well, for me, I can say there was a time where I wasn't necessarily putting family first, and that actually caused like burnout. And then when I started shifting around, but it's not just not putting it first. It's also like, no, I can't get off this little pinwheel. Like it's so hard. I have to stay. And it's so that is really hard to explain to somebody too. Cause it's like, you can't come visit for 5 days. No, I can't. I can't. And then it's like, well, why would you want to do that? Something's going to come up and I can't do it. It does seem kind of crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's unfair for both parties, I think. And the party that chooses to not do it because not that they don't understand, they didn't choose to do that. And there's certain people that did choose to do that. And then they realized, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Or worth it, or there are other things that I want. And, I think the pool of people that you started New York with now, you might be one of the last men standing.
Sure.
And, for my college graduates, when I left LA, there's only one person there still pursuing.
Really?
And now she's like teaching, or she's like working for dance companies versus like pursuing auditions, So, I think, we kind of hit our Saturn's return in our 20s where we're like, what the fuck are we doing? And then,
yes, amen.
Totally.
You had that in your 20s too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Sadith, my sister, she was kind of judgy when she came, per usual, coming to New York and visiting me like on a holiday. And the guy she married, Rob, who I gave my approval based on this, he was like, you need to understand, not everybody makes it to Broadway. Like, I know. I was like, Rob can stay.
Yeah. I like Rob. I like Rob. Rob.
Go, Rob. You get my vote. And he was like, not everybody can do that. Not everybody, not only talent, but has the stamina to do that.
Sure.
So you could cut her some slack. And I was like, thank you.
I wonder
that for years.
I wonder how he knew to say that. Maybe it was just an outsider like coming in and then seeing her not giving you credit maybe or not
Maybe.
understanding and being like,
yeah, and I'm a little sister. I'm a pain in the ass to her, you know, and I don't. You have siblings, right?
I've got my younger sister, but we were never close growing up. And then I've got an older half brother. Now me and my sister are close. My sister sounds a little bit like more like your sister. A little tiny bit. My sister's, I always say it like she's very type A. Like she's just very,
Yeah.
very, very, not just type A. She's like very type A. And she would admit that, I would say.
Sure. She's fine with it.
really organized. She's on it. But she actually left. She was in advertising. She was like really high up.
Mhm.
And she did a billboard I think it was for Mercedes or something. And the billboard was over this dumpy bar that I used to host an open mic at. So I used to
wow.
walk towards the billboard to go to my like open mic. And that made me really question my life decisions. And that was right around in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, what am I
So-
doing?
That's
What
so
am I
crazy,
doing?
Ex-girlfriend of you.
Yeah,
When
totally.
was the last time you were truly happy?
Ah, that's a fucking doozy. That's a total. That's a.
You can
That's
put
a
like you can put like explosions coming out of our brain.
Totally.
For the episode. Can we?
totally.
Put
That's
that
just. That's such a key life question too, because also it's like everyone tries to be happy all the time. And then I had a therapist that said, no, try to be content and fulfilled. If you try to be happy all the time, you're gonna be pissed.
No, you'll be disappointed the whole
Be disappointed.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I agree. That's so
When-
crazy about the billboard thing.
Isn't that crazy about the billboard? And also there was another billboard that said, you never know what funny can do. And it was Ellen. It was a total mindfuck walking around.
Wow.
It was a total mindfuck walking around.
You're like, great, here it is again, in my face.
right. I was like, I
have to deal with it.
I'm trying. When you went to university, I've got the name right.
P.S. I am honored that you subscribed to my YouTube channel.
Oh,
When I got
yeah.
that notification this morning, I was like, now I've made it.
I just started poking. I never spent a lot of time on YouTube, and then I've just started poking around. And then I was watching interviews of you. I went and subscribed. I noticed you've been watching. Now this is gonna sound
A
too.
lot of church shit. You can
Well,
say it.
It wasn't that. It was the workout
Oh.
videos.
Ugh.
Are you doing the home workouts?
Ugh.
You're watching
Okay.
a lot of them.
So in November, I had a miscarriage. This is not supposed to be a downer, but it's a fact. Not a lot of women.
The
talk
article
about
on
it,
that
and
was
I'm okay
great.
with that. Thank
The
you.
article was beautiful. My friend
And-
Laura sent me the article actually, and
thanks.
she had a miscarriage, and she said, "I saw this. This
Aw.
was great."
Thank you. Well, it was just mind blowing how many women have it without talking about it. And it's
Sure.
like 3 out of 5. And it was like 4 out of 5 in my circle of people.
3 out of
Anyway,
5, 4 out of 5.
It's really 4 out of 5. Yeah. It's more common than we are not proud to say. And it's like this, like,
interesting.
shame thing, whatever. Shameful secret.
I wonder.
I was
why
really
that
public
is.
about it. I was really public about it. And I had a great holiday. We went on a huge RV trip, my husband and I, across the
Awesome.
country. We did a round trip cross country trip. And then I realized for pilot season, my pants don't fit. And I was just like, I just want to feel good before we try again because my body's going to explode probably forever after that.
Right.
And I'm okay with that to literally bring life to this world.
Sure.
But let's just like get fit one more time, get my motivation, stop drinking so much. The holidays are over.
Right.
So I did a 60-day challenge in January. And the last day of my challenge was like quarantine week in LA.
Oh,
So
wow.
I never really did like that body scan, but I was fucking ripped, man. And it
Wow.
was, everyone's like, well, if it's 60 days, then it becomes a lifestyle, right? And I was like, fuck no.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I don't think things work like that either. Not.
No,
no,
my
no.
hair wasn't cute.
Right.
I was in sweats all day.
Right.
I
What was the
like
60-day
at the
challenge?
gym all the
Oh
time.
God. Was it like no sugar
No.
type thing?
No, it just better. Just eat well. I'm a big, I eat a lot anyway, but I
Yep.
just was choosing just to eat better. So the one thing that I started realizing I was doing a lot was eating more of a paleo moment.
Yes.
So it was like a lot more like sashimi instead of sushi,
Love.
and like just
totally.
but it was expensive. It was expensive to eat well.
And it's
I have-
hard too.
and
I
it's
think it's very
hard.
hard
It's
because
a
you can be
dedication.
exactly. It's a dedication.
And there's people that, my friend Pallavi and I, Pallavi is vegan and she's like Master Chef vegan and it's like easy for her. It's
Good
not
for
easy
her.
for me. It's not I don't want to figure out the science behind it. It does not interest me. I'm just going to go buy it, I'll
I
buy it
agree.
and be happy. And it's done at what was that? What's that is it Montessori? No, what's that place?
I don't know, but I went to a Montessori school. Montessori is like a
That's not
hippy
the
dippy
restaurant
school.
I'm talking about.
Okay. Totally different thing. Totally different thing.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't go to restaurant. We don't go out anymore, so I forgot the name.
Right.
Not Montessori.
Was it like a raw food type place?
No, just like a healthier, like Trader Joe's
Yeah.
restaurant-ish feel.
Wait, what is it, the one where it's like where you have to,
Glue.
oh, I don't know that one. There's
What?
one in LA. They've got a couple of them where you have to say like the food item will be like gracious and you go, I am. You know what I'm talking about?
Cafe Gratitude.
Yes. You don't
Look at
like?
my face.
Oh, I love it.
Oh God.
Really?
I
Oh, you're still a
can't
New Yorker.
stand-
Oh, I love it so much. I don't
Still a New Yorker through and through.
New Yorkers don't like that. I went with that place to someone from New York, and I was like, oh no, because the waiter, what they do is each food item is named after something that you want to manifest.
Nauseated.
So the waiter came over and I said, I'll have an I am grateful. And then I said, I am grateful. And then my friend was like, we're not doing that. And I was to the waiter, it was a girl. It was like a night. I was like, it was a friend of mine. She lives
The
in
New
New York.
Yorker said we're not doing that like out loud.
She said, we're not doing that to the
I'm
server.
so
And I
happy.
was like, you don't have to do it. You also didn't have to say that. And I was like, she'll have that. And she was like, what is this place? You don't
Oh, I
like
love
that? It's
it.
so fun.
Listen, I'm a vision board like host. I do vision board parties.
Oh, I love that.
And I get it. I totally get the whole affirmation thing. I'm a accountability coach on the
Really?
side.
I love that.
am. And so like I get the whole it's over the line for me. I'm not
Okay,
going to
so
go to
that
a
means-
restaurant and be like, I am happy. Like I'm just not.
That means it really is kind of lame then, because if you're all into the stuff and then you're not digging it, then that means it actually is kind of whack. Because it's not like you're a hater on it.
I'm not a hater, but like Paula V, my friend, my vegan friend, she loves Cafe Gratitude and she's a transfer from New York too. So,
see?
To each their own. Tomato.
Tomato.
I just know I am grateful in my head, I guess. So, it just doesn't vibe in my daily routine. It literally makes me want to barf.
It makes you feel kind of like an asshole, because also the other thing too is like, it's not like the server is necessarily super into it either. So they're like, okay, now you said, it's just like a little bit of everyone's kind of making
not into it.
I can't imagine it gets old for them too. So they're like, and what are you? And then you have to say it. And then they're like, fuck this.
Yeah, but
and
yoga instructors aren't like that.
that's true. That's true.
And then,
that's true.
it's probably like, I would be like, I would love to be a fly on the wall during those waiter interviews for
Oh,
Cafe Gratitude.
God. Me too. That's funny.
Like a
That's
litmus
funny.
test.
That's funny.
With
Are
a
you?
psychological like, but are you? And what are you? And like,
How
that's like the
grateful
main-
are you? They're just snapping. They're like, they're
from a
muttering
from a range
outside.
of 1 to 5, how grateful are you?
Better be 1,000.
I am so grateful.
And then that's it. They're like, yeah, but go into it. And then they
Yeah.
start bawling. You know
yeah,
what I
they're like,
mean?
are you? We're not buying it. You're out. You're out.
That's like a whole SNL skit right there.
Did
The
you always
interview.
the interview for Cafe Gratitude? I think it's only in LA. Is it? I think it's only in LA though.
I don't care. I don't know.
I think it is. Did you always have such a good knee jerk reaction to did you always have such good like life skills to
No.
oh, you didn't?
Wait, to what? Be
To
specific.
like have your with the vision boards and then like in the interviews I was reading it, you had such a balanced approach to, I mean, a lot of it you credited to Oklahoma City University.
Good work. Good study.
Oklahoma City University. I don't know why that's such a tongue twister for me. Oklahoma
Just
City.
say OCU. It's fine.
OCU. A lot of it you credit to that, but was that what started making you be able to have a positive outlook the way that you do?
Well, I mean, like my mom and I had a great stage mom relationship. I would sit next to her in between rehearsals at the, for dress rehearsal, like before we perform. And I would sit next to her and I'd be like, what do I need to fix? And she's like, do that, do that, do that. And I would go over and fix it. So
how
like,
old? Like what was the
that was middle
youngest?
school, high
Really?
school.
So you
I
would
was
go on
always okay
auditions?
with- No. Just performances
Oh,
for
just
my recital
performance.
for my
Okay.
dance studio.
Yeah.
Like, I paid to be there. Okay.
Right.
Like
right.
I didn't audition until 20. And
Okay.
so, I just really cared about performing. So that was natural for me. My dad comes from a salesman family. So like that part of business clicked in college because my mentor, like I say in some of those interviews, she always says it's show business, not show begging.
Yeah, I've
And
never heard that
so
before.
I love that.
That's
That
a good
really
one.
clicked for me, where you're just like, right, this is a job. It's not just fun and, passion,
And also
so
you're not begging, because there's so much that's a very important thing to hear. I think in anything that anyone wants to do, or if there's ever something that someone wants at all, it's not about begging. It's about law of attraction and working on yourself.
right. And saying no and
Saying
saving your
no.
money and,
Yep.
and just being good to your body, especially if it's your instrument. And so with that, New York did put me on overdrive into my Saturn's return, where I was just kind of like foaming at the mouth. I'm sure you had that moment in New York.
Absolutely.
You were rabid, like just trying to survive. And so major overdrive. And my cafe gratitude is actually MLM. I
What's
joined
MLM?
a multi-level marketing company.
I never heard of it.
Yes, you have. Do you know what?
It does
Mary
sound a
Kay-
little.
Do you know what Mary
Oh yeah,
Kay
Mary
is?
Kay. Yeah,
Or Amway?
sure.
Those are multi-level marketing companies.
Where it's like you get one person under you. Oh, and they do it with knives.
Pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme, right? Okay, that
Yes.
you did one of those.
I still do.
Really? I have a friend that sells Mary Kay. She loves it.
Yeah. And it is a business opportunity,
Right.
that we say. And my business side was not gaining any kind of I was not having any monetary gain in that moment of my life professionally. And so I
Which
remember,
doesn't feel good.
which doesn't feel good.
Doesn't
And I
feel
remember
good.
calling my mom and crying and she was like, well, do you want to come home? And I was like, no, I just need to cry about it. And then tomorrow I'm going to try again.
Yep.
But I was learning that a lot of it was out of my control versus like going to acting class or whatever. So I literally applied for a bar to work at a bar. At the same day, a friend talked to me about her MLM thing. And I joined for the money. Like I was like, I can have my own meetings, my own parties,
Right.
and my own little thing, my presentations, and I'm going to get everyone to buy my stuff, all my friends. And then I realized that luckily this company, Shackley, is very like cafe gratitude-y, where it's also a nutritional company. It's very healthy, non-toxic products. I'm not selling this to you, I swear. And
sounds great.
I stopped getting sick on the products. Like
Really?
I have no more sinus infections, found a great multivitamin. I didn't go on the health side. Like
So they have
I went
it's like
through
vitamins and all the stuff.
vitamins, shakes, cleaning products. They have a beauty line that's just like non-toxic stuff. So like that became my gratitude thing. And I learned about vision boards there. And I learned about the why behind what you do. And I learned about like teaching others and multiplying yourself and like work harder, not smarter. Like, so those, some of those business things that weren't from the showbiz end, that I learned it from MLM.
Why do they not teach that in acting schools and like when you take entertainment classes?
I don't know. It's all about the passion, and the craft takes a lot of time. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of time. But at the same time, like if you're, it's not only about talent. It's really not.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
Unfortunately, it's about just, I think of these our careers like a poker game. You just got to last, and you got to go in, and then you gotta
Totally.
lose, and then try again when you can afford it.
Yep. Tap in, tap out, tap. Totally.
Step out.
It's also like,
Can I get some water? Hold
oh,
on.
please.
I
Absolutely.
forgot to get water.
You were talking about the multi-level marketing scheme. Oh, wait, it shouldn't be called that. What's like
It
a PC?
is.
It is called that? Okay.
It's a multi-level marketing company.
Multi-level marketing company. But it really did work. When you learned about doing vision boards there, did you feel like a deja vu vision board moment when you got to, I want to get her name right, when the same actress that you were studying under, you got to share, the same Latina that inspired you at age 10, you got to share a stage with? Priscilla Lopez. Okay, that wasn't a hard name to say.
Work.
That was a very easy, I don't know why I thought I was going to mess that name up. I don't know.
It's an iconic name.
Yeah,
Don't
I
mess it
don't,
up.
that was a real easy one. It was Priscilla I was worried about, and okay.
You nailed it. You can
I
move on
nailed
now.
it. Thank you. Did you feel like how did that feel when that came to fruition? Like, had you pictured yourself working with her and then you got to do it? Was that like a surreal moment?
The surreal moment came prematurely when I went and saw the show before I was in it. And I saw In the Heights in previews, and I booked it literally 14 months later. And
Wow.
so I was going to do another gig, and I was doing the role that I saw at 10 that she originated in a chorus line, Deanna Morales. And I made a fool out of myself at the stage door with her. I was like, hi,
Oh,
I'm
no.
going to be you. And like Lin-Manuel passed by, Karen Olivo passed by, Chris Jackson, who cares? Everyone else is passing by. And I was like, I just need to give Priscilla Lopez my business card. That's all I need to do.
And she took it?
I chickened out. I didn't even give it to her. And it was raining, and my sister was with me, and she like disappeared because she got embarrassed.
I'm going to be you. That is a strong thing to say.
Hi, Priscilla Lopez. I'm going to be you.
I'm going to be you. Yeah, because that could be like,
At
I'm going to
the
wear your
stage door.
face on my face. And like, they don't know if she doesn't know if you're like
I know
a
where you
killer.
live. It's the
Right,
same.
yeah. I'm going to be you. I've been
Hi, I'm gonna be
watching
you.
you.
And then she was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I ruined my moment. And so then once I digested the fact that I was going to be in the show and she was still in it, I was like, I've got to do this right. I've got it. Like I have a second chance.
Did
So
she remember?
No, she doesn't remember. But literally a year later, because I understudied the role that plays her daughter.
Mm.
So there were certain times I could play her daughter. She was also very generous and thoughtful, as you know, playing with her. And I finally just had a moment. The timing was right. We were sitting backstage in between shows or whatever, and I said, I don't know if you remember this, but this is what I said, this is what I did, and this is what I played. And she was just like so genuinely sweet and whatever. And so there's these really famous white sneakers the character wears in that dance show, A Chorus Line, and she got to sign them for me.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah, that's a nice. Do you still have them?
Oh yeah. They're in storage somewhere in LA, but
Right.
like, you know, they're not necessarily hanging on my door or anything, but we have such a great relationship. She even cat sat for me once.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's when entertainment really is a mindfuck, when people become like real people in your life, like for real. Like when it's like, oh, it's not just like we're working together and this is like, can you also like watch my cat perchance? Like
they watched Desperate Housewives together. They were like best
that's
buddies.
amazing. My girlfriend was on that for a second. She's a hairdresser. She did. Yeah, and she was doing the hair for one of them, and she's in it, and she's like does not like being on camera. But she said on that show, she's like, I've done reality shows. This isn't the case. She's like, that's like for real. Like that's real. Like they are drunk. They give them booze, but they're not. It's not scripted.
Let them loose. Just
Let them loose.
The animals loose.
Let them loose. Let them loose.
I did an episode of that because the gig I was performing was the performers for them, that the show they went to, and it was like it was probably in Long Island somewhere. Sad.
Oh boy,
and not sad.
Right.
Sorry, Long Island, but
I know what you mean.
very different.
I know what you mean.
And and they had their table lit, and it was all prepared, and Sonia Morgan was performing with us. And like she did her best. She tried her best, and she was good. She was great. For Long Island, she was great.
Right.
And she had a great time or whatever, but I'll never forget, I tried to skip the line for the bathroom so I can go back and backstage.
Sure.
And I was next to one of the ladies, and I said, you know, guys, I was just laughing with her. I was like, I'm so sorry, showbiz, sorry, thanks for letting me cut. And she was like, you can never escape showbiz.
Oh God. It's like
chills down my
you're
spine.
like, did other people hear that? You guys all heard that, right? I'm not like hearing things because that's like not that's not what I want to hear.
Like she was a prisoner of reality TV.
Yeah, right.
Poor thing. Okay.
Right.
It's like, you're taking that check, boo-boo.
Right.
Okay?
Trust me, I'm trying. You can't escape it. Like, oh man.
Showbiz. And I was like, also, but yes, you can.
You totally can.
You totally can.
You totally can. I wonder sometimes if actors are more, it's impossible to say if actors are more well-rounded than comedians. I know less actors, but in my experience, they have been more well-rounded. But I'm drawing from a sample of 4, and the 4 I've run this by said that I don't know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean? Like that
I think of
the actor would disagree that we're not well-rounded? Is that what you're saying?
They were like, no, there's no way to draw any broad strokes on that, which I do agree. But I'll usually think of, you know what it is? I think actors can have better boundaries. At least actors seem a little less impulsive than comedians. Or if they are self-destructive, maybe comedians are more likely to have like verbal diarrhea about it. And then actors will be more like poised.
I think the psychology behind it, though, is that me being ignorant to stand-up world and comedy world is we get to wear a mask when we
Right.
talk about our vulnerability.
Right.
And maybe you do have also put on a different Emma when you are, either laughing about your own life and
Sure.
mocking your own life and your own personal
Totally.
stuff. But at least we get to cry about it. So at least we have a cathartic channel that kind of lets us filter it through, like a
Yes.
death scene or a sad scene. Like I do go to something personal, I prepare for it, and I allow myself to be sad about a personal memory that gets me there, and then I can channel it into the lines. I don't know if stand-up has that opportunity.
Not so much.
It's
Not
always waka waka waka.
right. Exactly. Totally. That would be amazing for something to be that dynamic. They'd have to be really good. Really good.
To be able to go there and then come back out of that. Does that ever happen? Like crying?
There's got to be stand-up comedians that are like Bill Burr's a good actor, but when I was reading one of your interviews where you were talking about growing as an actor and you were talking about when you cried as Valencia, because it was interesting for me to read that someone gave the feedback of you being, because you were talking about being a dancer first, and then someone was like, she can dance, but the acting's weak.
It was true.
When they gave you that feedback, did they say it to your face, or how did you receive this
My
feedback?
agents told me.
Damn! Oh, this wasn't like one critic?
No, it was casting directors that probably got the feedback from when I left the room. I mean, wicked
That's
people.
crazy.
Just so you know, though, it's hard. I mean, but that's theater. It's so New
Right.
York is harsh. I don't know. Sometimes the honesty is better
I agree.
versus me being like a fool. Like, why don't you like me? No, it's more like go to acting, get your ass in class.
I agree.
And like again though, but bring it back to me sitting next to my mom being like, what do I fix? And she'd
Right.
be like, go fix that, go fix that. I was like, okay, as long as I can fix it, I want to be better.
I totally agree with that.
But at this, it's humbling. I think humility is a big deal. And I'll tell you this, Wicked brought me in for Alphaba so many times. For every cast, every opportunity, I would have like coaching sessions for it. And then I would go for the team and then I wouldn't get a call back. And finally, maybe a year or two before Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, my agent called and said, they want to let you know, Chelsea wants to let you know that they're not going to call you in anymore. It's just not going to happen. And I said, thank you.
Right.
Because I don't want to warm up for this anymore.
Right.
I don't want to sing,
Right.
like at 8 a.m. when I have to write on text all my
Right.
neighbors in the apartment saying, I'm so sorry. I'm going in for this again. And I'm like literally walking as a saint in January into the subway so my larynx doesn't get fucking cold.
Right.
And then I got to do my hair there. And I got to look like I'm cool, Alphaba vibe. And all the preparation for you to say no thank you for the umpteenth time.
Totally.
Stop calling me in.
Yes. It's like, let me be free. And also it's like, I'm okay, but I'd rather not. After it's over 10 times, it's like, we don't need to do this. Like, I'm good enough with myself. Like, it's okay. I'll find something. He's just not that into you. He's just not that into you. If they ask you, you're going to do it. But you can stop asking, and that's okay.
Stop being nice. And like, just tell me the truth. And I just remember feeling that way. And did I feel that way immediately in New York? No, I would have been crying probably. But after a few years, you're just like, listen.
Right.
Stop asking me for these favors. And I don't want to go. I don't want to warm up for this. It's too much work. And my voice isn't what you want.
Right.
And please stop asking me. So like when I got the answer about the brutal callback the brutal feedback that it was my acting, I was like, I didn't even put into thought. I didn't even think about going to acting class. I didn't even think about taking class again once I got there. And I was like, oh, I should find a class.
I think that's very understandable. I think it's very understandable too, especially if you've cultivated a skill like dancing. So you've
24 years,
24 years, dancing. So then when this other facet gets introduced, I think that for a lot of people, shifting gears to then have that humbling experience of being like, okay, now I need to build up skills in this set and knowing all that takes to do.
And it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
Flash, light bulb.
It takes so much work. It takes a lot of work. It's like really hard. It's hard.
Really hard. Acting's hard.
It's so hard. I had this audition. Okay.
How'd it go?
This was not good. This was like not good. This was a moment where I said, we don't need to do this to ourselves. I don't.
Hold on.
Please.
You had this audition.
Okay. I get the I get the breakdown, which is where they describe what the characters they're looking for. It said gorgeous bartender. And it had a bunch of lines. It was for Days of Our Lives. And it tons of lines. Like, which I guess for I guess for soap operas, I don't know. It was, to me, I was like, this is a very wordy script. Like, it was like long. And I only say that to say, I was like, oh, this is like going to be a lot to memorize. Like, this is, or work with, or try to embody, or get into for the audition.
Sure.
But I said, but gorgeous. I was like, now, you know, like, I'm cute and I'm very comfortable with, it's all good. Do I need to put myself up for the part of gorgeous by LA?
Did you put like fake eyelashes on?
I should have either done that and gone hard, because I prepped for it. So I should have either done the fake eyelashes and done it. But instead I was just like, I don't want to do this. And I went in, and the people in the waiting room were gorgeous. Like, the other actresses in the waiting room, gorgeous. Way too tall. Like, people like that look funny a little bit in real life. Like, they were so tall. And I was like, do I need to like submit myself to this with these auditions? Like, why? I don't need to go in for the role of gorgeous bartender. What's the worst auditions you've ever had?
Can I just give you an accountability coach moment for a
please,
second, though? Before
please.
You got to let them decide when you walk in the room if you're gorgeous or not. And also, like, their definition of gorgeous, who knows what that is?
Totally.
And a voiceover audition, to answer your question just a little bit. The first one I booked, when I saw the material, I laughed. I was like, why don't they have like Viola Davis doing this role?
Sure.
It's like this adjudicator for lost souls for a game, for a video game. And I was like, no, there's no way. Like, this is booked it.
Really?
First thing I booked. Yeah. And I remember saying, I kind of joked about that to the writer in the recording session, like a few months later. And I was like, I really didn't think this was like going to in any way my voice, my style.
Sure.
And he was like, when I heard your audition, that was the voice I wanted to judge my soul.
Ooh,
in that room, and I was
damn.
like, this is ridiculous. How long can I be here? 5 minutes? All right, let's just slap this on, and I'm gonna leave. You never know, girl.
Wow, that's the voice.
As well as that audition, they'll think about you for something else.
100%. Totally. And that's why you got to just keep going in, and it's all an experience, and you got to keep.
Sure. That's a lot of bullshit too. But it's
Right.
emotionally exhausting. You're
Yeah.
like, what are you doing to me, man? Why are you doing this to me? The worst audition besides Wicked was all, well, I mean, define worse, but like some of the stuff, like another one that lagged on a lot.
That's said like a true veteran. Yeah.
Define worse.
Yeah.
One of those, like, he's just not into you, though, was another he's just not into you feeling was On Your Feet for Broadway, the show On Your Feet, the Gloria Estefan show. And I know the team very well. I worked with the choreographer, I worked with the music director, I worked with the director, and all the In the Heights kids are there, all the West Side Story kids are there, like all veterans that are there, and
people you knew or people you
people
recognize?
I knew, like
People
all
you
of
knew.
us, like the Latinos
Right.
of Broadway are all there for
Right.
these auditions, and they like pair us up in salsa. We're having a blast, whatever. And I went in for this from the singer side, singer and read the lines, and then I went in from the dancer side, dance the audition, then do the singing, route. And they kept bringing me in for Gloria understudy. They kept bringing me in for dancer. They kept bringing me for swing. They kept bringing me in, and they just would not cast me. And so that entire process, that entire season of other auditions, when you're in the elevator waiting to go upstairs to Pearl Studios or whatever, everyone's, and I'm Gabi, by the way, in New York. I'm not Gabrielle.
Oh,
So
really?
like, Gabi. Yeah, they're like, Gabi. All my friends, like sitting in the waiting room, and other choreographers for other shows, they're like,
Sure.
oh, you're here. Aren't you doing On Your Feet? And I'm like, nope, I'm not.
I'm
here.
Right.
Aren't I? I'm auditioning for you.
Right.
No, I would like to say I was diplomatic about it. I wasn't bitter. I don't think I was at all, but I was just like, that is a good idea. I should be in On Your Feet.
Right.
No,
Right.
I haven't been
Right.
casted. And everyone was like, they didn't believe me.
Wow.
The community was like, but why?
You're like, how do I say this? It takes two of us. So on my end, I'm down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Game. 100%
So you call them.
Why don't you not ask me? You
Yeah.
tell them that. Why don't you send them a note? Like
Right.
send them an email. Why don't you come in the audition room with me and just say like, she's great, you know?
Right.
And so I would be like, and then my answer was legitimately, I don't know.
I don't know.
And it got so ridiculous that season. Everyone, Gabby, how you doing? Oh my gosh, you're sitting on your feet, right? Like, I'm not kidding, Emma. The entire audition
Oh, that's
season,
uncanny.
Like, it's, before shows open for, for the Tony season, it's like you open by February, March. And so like, it's the fall, like September through December is auditions for Broadway, the next shows. And the entire time, why aren't you in on your feet? And so I didn't book it. And the final audition, like the gorgeous thing, the final time I was texting Philip when I got there because all the other women were literally 30 years older than me.
And Philip is Gabrielle's husband,
then
Yes.
boyfriend.
then
And
boyfriend.
I told Philip, I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm not going in for this anymore because now they're trying to literally force me and see me again for roles that I'm way too young for.
Right.
And it's not even understudying Gloria anymore. Like
Right.
it's just like the vieja cleaning the clothes in Cuba
Right.
and making some jokes and then dancing in the background like one of the standing singers in the background. And that's fine if you think I can do that, but like everyone else here could be my mother, and that's fine.
Right.
But why are you having me in here?
Right.
And so that audition, luckily, was the most freeing and relaxed audition I ever had because I knew
good.
it was literally a goodbye
Right.
parade.
This is it. This is the end of me doing this. Because it's like, this is my life that you're pulling me in for now. So
Yeah.
toodaloo. Were you a spiritual kid? Like, where did faith start weaving itself in your life?
Oh, major Christian camp kid.
You went to the camps.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know about Christian camps. I thought I knew about Jewish camps because,
the Christian camps are there.
or I guess, you know what? I did know about Christian camps. I mean, of course that's a thing. And then there was that movie. Did you see
What movie?
There's a documentary. It wasn't flattering. So
Probably
it was
not.
just
I need to
of
see it,
that
though.
one camp. You didn't, it was
Which one?
church camp.
It's called Church Camp.
I think
The
so.
I need to find it. I'm sure it's on Netflix or something.
It was popular at the time. It was this woman who I forget. I just remember this woman was. It was not. Well, it wasn't. But it was just of that one camp. So of course that can only represent that one camp. And
I mean, they probably all were
believer.
that way. It's fine. It's
How was
fine.
yours?
I thought it was great. I had a good time. I was a good kid in high school and middle school and all that. My parents drank a lot and they gave it up for God. So that we became like super deep end Christian though, to the point where like I couldn't listen to secular music and stuff. And I mean, how am I going to raise my kids to feel like I'm afraid of the world for them? Who knows? But, and you know, what their decisions were. And,
how old were you when they did that?
I remember my parents doing this whole like dumping the bar in our living room.
Wow.
Night.
They must have had a bad night. Where they were like,
well, my dad I mean, I don't know if he remembers, but there was a certain night that all of us like had like a, whoa, this is really bad. And that's what I remember. That impacted me. And I remember my dad like getting all the alcohol and dumping it down the sink and like, we're not doing this anymore. Like that huge epiphany. And then it just got, I have to say, like with the recession and like our, you know, business spiraling and feeling like we lost the house and like a lot of things that happened from 2008 while I was in college and leaving college into my first New York stuff. Like I did steer away from Christianity, and then I rediscovered it for myself again in my Saturn's return life, like 28.
Do you remember when you were steering away from it? Was it like a conscious thing where you like, or was it just like a subtle thing where you're like, oh, I'm not turning to God so much, or were you like, it's not working?
I think the first one. It was just like, I'm not going to make it a priority. And then the weirdest thing was in those moments, like I was like a serial monogamist. I dated guys like 3 years through and then like break off and then get serious again with another guy.
3 years is a long time because I do that, but with way less time. I'm a serial monogamist, but like 6 months to a year. I see you.
So you're like the fast lane monogamist.
I'm fast lane monogamous. I never put it like that, but yeah. Yes. So you were doing 3 years?
3 years, 3 times in a row.
Wow.
So like I was just always like in a serious relationship, and then the breakup was epic, you know, like there was no return.
3
the
years is a
dating.
long time. I mean, I've
Like
never
that-
even been in a relationship for 3 years.
That was only me.
Wow.
Like I was always dive in all the way. And those 3 breakups, well, I think the last 2 before I met Philip, they were the ones who brought up one of their ultimatums of why we're breaking up, that I can't do the Christian thing for you. And I was like, I'm not even making this a priority. And they're like, it's just not my thing. And usually the Christians, church camp, are the Bible beaters in that sense, right? So you think it would be me being like, I can't do this for you because you're not doing the Christian thing.
Right.
The worldlier, secular people that I were dating that I was fine with being just spiritual per se,
Sure.
they were the ones like, that I'm out. Like I'm not going to raise my kids like that.
I wonder what it was that they were thinking you were.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I did try to go to church or whatever, but first of all, church in New York is ridiculous. It's too hard. It's too tiring. And I stopped. I was just like, I'm not doing that on the weekends. Just trying to go to church and I'm starving and I spend money on food. And then if I have 2 shows that day, I'm exhausted. No, I'm not doing that. And so like that was part of it.
Is it New York is so exhausting, or the churches is more like they have you doing more stuff?
Both. I mean, it's not that they were having me do more stuff. I just couldn't connect with people. And so what was I doing? I was just going to get my fix of a sermon and a song. But like I do songs for a living. I'm not going to do this at 10 a.m.
Totally.
on a slow subway day.
Totally. It is a slow subway day. Totally. It has to be something in your heart to want. And of course, still, even when it's in your heart, there'll be times where it's like, want to go more than others. But if it's not in your heart, it just feels like you're clocking in.
Yeah. And I felt like I was clocking in those times in that chapter. And then with those those breakups, I realized that I still had it important, but I just wasn't doing it the same way as I grew up. And so I just kind of reconfigured it, finding a mate in that way. Like, do find someone that has the same faith as me. And Philip and I met on Match.
And you guys met on Match. I forget what the exact timeline was, but it was pretty close before you had to move to LA for Crazy X.
Yeah, we dated. It was January. We dated almost 2 years when I booked Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
So that's actually a pretty good foundation.
Yeah.
That's a good foundation.
We didn't live together, but we dated in New York for a year and a half. Yeah. It was so much fun. I love dating in New York.
Yeah,
New York.
There is something nice about it too. And then you each have your own space, and then you get to meet up late.
Subway.
Totally. New York is New York is romantic.
It has its romance. Yes,
Did you guys both indicate that you were spiritual on the Match.com? Like,
that's
the
the only
profile?
reason why I messaged him, because he said, not the only reason, but what the like push inbox to send a message would, in the middle of his profile, he said, by the way, if you're not a Christian, don't bother messaging me. It's just not going to work.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Bold for New York, especially because
for New York.
Bold.
And
Very
I was looking for, from, humbling myself and hearing the feedback, like, you're a bad actor, I can't do the Christian thing for you. It was the same thing. I was like, oh, let me reevaluate what's working and what can work. Because obviously strike 3 with these 3-year relationships. I don't want to do that again.
That is a very interesting thing for people to say too. Like, that's very interesting, because it's like, well, what does that mean to you? Is it my outlook? What is it? Like, what are you referring? Is it the PR you see about it that then you think is going to infect you, but that's not what I'm talking about? It could mean a bunch of things. It's a very ambiguous, strange thing to say.
Instead of trying to convert somebody, I was like, I should probably find somebody with the same fundamentals or foundation of how they grew up, that we can just agree that we will attempt any sort of spirituality in the Christian book.
Sure.
And so the fact, when I was looking on Match, I literally was trying to cast my mate. And if they had I'm spiritual, or I can handle whatever, or I like God, but I don't really go to church, I was like, I can't, I'm just not going to do it. And so I literally would do the cut. I was brutal. No matter how cute or famous or how rich you were, I didn't really care. And so Philip made the cut because he was a lot of great other things, but that was the thing. I was like, oh, someone was bold to say that. And so I messaged him.
Very bold to say that too, because that you just don't see that in New York.
Mm-mm.
That's
and I was on Christian Mingle first, and it's a free dating website, and no matter who was on on that profile. I mean, on that website, it was just ghetto, man. And I mean ghetto, not in the person. I mean ghetto on like the preparation of their profile, like the presentation of themselves. Like the selfie was like a messy IKEA bedroom behind them with one light on the corner. And they were like,
Totally.
I'm like, that's not attractive. You didn't even think about it. You had no thought.
Totally. It's grainy. Everything's spelled wrong. The questions are all out of, they're saying age, sex, location, and they're like answering their favorite band in that bracket.
Yeah. And it's just like, if you didn't even put thought to this, like, I don't have time for you. And so then I moved away from Christian Mingle and I tried eHarmony, which is very Christian centric. And like traditional Christians,
which I didn't know actually. And then I remember reading that it was like owned by a very religious like holding company or something. Because I don't know if they are super open about them being so Christian centric.
Maybe they're a pyramid scheme. No,
maybe they are. They could be. They could be. What isn't? Truly, what isn't?
Get a car with eHarmony. And so I was okay with eHarmony's like elaborate question Q&A. So like I appreciated that, but like everyone, my match, the person of my dreams was always in Ohio.
Really?
Fuck that.
And more than 2 people?
More than 2 people.
What the fuck? That's so
I
weird.
Am not moving to Ohio.
I'll tell you this. I've been to some parts of Ohio. It's really nice. It's very lush, green pastures.
Well, if they don't have Cafe Gratitude in Ohio, then maybe I'll go.
Yeah, right. I can find solace there. That is so. How would people react when you would say that you were like when you were doing entertainment?
Well, there was one guy I dated on eHarmony, and he came and saw a show, and he asked me, he was like, "Are your gay friends gonna hit on me? The guys, like the guy dancers?" And I was like, "Okay, have a seat. Let me teach you all of this of how incredibly insecure you are, and you have no fucking clue how to respect this community. Because A, their opinion actually matters to me. B, no, they're actually very, very comfortable in their sexuality where they don't give a shit about you and they do that. And C, how dare you? How dare you? You think it's funny to ask me that? Right. We didn't continue dating. That was not Philip.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah, that's always so strange when guys think that they'll get. I remember there was this girl in my soccer team in high school, and I was way in the closet, but there was a girl who was a lesbian, and she was like, she's going to hit on me. I just know it. I can't believe that she's gay. And I remember being like, no one hits on you. No guy hits on you. Why is she going to hit on you?
First of all, the people that you think are supposed to hit on you, they're not going to either. So
no one's hitting on you. There's nothing to work with here. No one is hitting on you. No one is hitting on you.
But I have to say, like, Philip was a lighting designer, a very successful events lighting designer for high-end events in New York. And it was so refreshing when I would talk about, like, you know, the celebrities I performed with, or I knew Lin-Manuel, whatever.
Yes.
And I remember when I booked If Then and was working with Adina Menzel, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I did her birthday party like a few years ago."
Oh, wow.
So that was nice, where he could actually one-up me.
Right.
And wasn't in the entertainment actor business. Because that was another thing. Another thing I struck out was, like, I couldn't date the show pony anymore. Like the male, the tall, dark, and handsome lead. I was just over it. And so he was so different, but he also could one-up me on the celebrity name dropping.
Right. And he would understand it.
He was like, yeah, Barbara, like, walked by her birthday cake and, like, licked, you know, just took a lick at it and just kept walking. And Hillary, you know, Oprah gave me the best advice about my suit.
He met Oprah?
Yes. And she told, you know, he asked her for the best advice that she could give. And she was like, it doesn't matter how expensive your clothing is, but it needs to always fit right.
That is actually very good advice.
Tailored.
That is very good advice, actually. Yeah, that's great advice.
You will feel and look great. You never need to feel expensive to feel great.
Did
like
his suit
thing.
Did his suit not fit at the time, you think? Is that why she was saying that? Was she being a little passive aggressive to Philip? Your suit
did like a scan. She was like, just take it passively. I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
I say it's everybody, but Philip was
Maybe
so
that's
sweet.
What Oprah does. Maybe that's what she does. Like, let me give you advice, and like makes it like metaphorical and like super quotey.
But it's just for the person.
Just for you.
Just for the person. Philip was so sweet on set. I remember, I think it was Tova who played Rachel's mom.
Yeah.
Was running her lines. There was something. And she was kind of looking around.
Gosh.
You remember that?
Yes,
Maybe she did it more than one time.
Well,
did she do it more than one time? But she said, everyone was kind of looking down and he must have been looking up, and then, or she asked for him or something. And then he was over there for quite a while running lines with her, which, it's a very nice thing of him to do, because it's a tiring thing to do too.
Well, every time he does it with me, I always say it's a very nice thing of him to do.
Yes, it is very nice.
Poor Philip during pilot season, man. It's brutal. Poor guy.
Totally.
But back to the lighting design thing, when she came, I think Tova's first episode was in season 1, and Philip and I were still living in New York officially. And when he was working at the Rainbow Room, which is his client at the time, she was at a birthday party or at a party or an event or something. And so he was like, do you think she'll remember you? Because I can just name drop you and just say, hi, my fiance at the time is also on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And she did. And she started like at the party, where's the bathroom? Where's the bathroom? But she just started singing it to him. So they had a rapport that she could trust, that
that's
without
so cute.
his choice, 4 years later, she is his singing partner.
That's so cute.
Philip is always there for her when she needs to sing her songs.
This was a really nice line you had about him, where you're talking about that he's not just a good husband, he's also a good life mate.
Yes, he is a good life mate.
That made me think, because I was like, okay, I think I'm a good life mate. I don't know if I'm a good girlfriend, because I'm a good partner in a lot of ways, but where I would have to work on is actually being a girlfriend. So I appreciated that you distinguished those two things, because
thank you.
It's there. I can see how they're a different thing, because my girlfriend now is also she's a good girlfriend and a good life mate, and it highlights to me where my good life mate, but not necessarily a great girlfriend all the time.
I have to tell Philip, and sometimes, I mean, we're very honest with each other. We're pretty brutal. Like our second year anniversary, he didn't get me flowers. And that's
did he have a busy day, or did he not?
He was
remember?
Traveling. He was coming from a funeral. It was like, and he even asked me, he was like, can I fly back that day? And he even asked me for permission on that. Like, I know it's our anniversary. He didn't forget it, but I was like, that's fine. Your grandfather passed away. It's fine. Right. And, but I didn't get any flowers. And I said, and it was the night of our anniversary. We were going to bed. He made it. It was fine. And I said, I just need to tell you this now before.
So I don't resent you, which is right.
Alphabet's never happening for you. No, that's not what I said.
Right.
I said, before I get resentful and I never tell you, and then you will say, why didn't you ever tell me?
Sure.
Because as like non-traditional people that we are, and like, we're not cafe gratitude people. We're not like those kind of like have to like write down. We don't have a thankful jar or whatever.
I like that stuff.
I said,
I don't have one, but I do like that stuff.
I was like, this is what is important to me.
Right.
That's like silly, whatever. I need a card and I need flowers.
Good for you for saying that, though.
And he was like, but, and poor guy's reeling. He's like, I was traveling. I was in Pennsylvania. I'm so sorry. But you told me it was fine. I was like, I did. So I'm not mad. However, next year, get me flowers. I said, as well as, in my defense, you were traveling round trip 6 airports. They have cards there.
They do.
You were on your phone all day, I'm sure. Flowers.com.
Right. He could have taken flowers from the funeral if he really wanted to. There were flowers yeah, you could have gotten free flowers. You could have done that.
Just smash them in a book. They can be pressed flowers for all I care. Just, you have to get me flowers. Okay? Thank you.
Good for Philip. Philip.
Like, sometimes my sarcasm really like throws him off the wall and he has to walk away. And he was like, also, when I walk away, don't follow me. Like, you can't keep pursuing the conversation. You have to give me a minute.
To regroup with arguments?
Probably.
Yeah.
As well as just, I need a minute before Philip feels like I can't take his anger or his backlash. Like, he thinks what's in his head is so mean that he won't recover, or I won't recover.
Interesting.
From it, so he'll walk away. But then I'm like following him, like, wait, we're not done here. And blah, 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 blah. And I just like literally follow him and chase him around the house. And he finally told me, he's like, you need to not follow me.
Which is fair, because also that's saying, I know how I am in anger, and I might say something that I actually don't want to say.
Regret. Yeah.
Will regret. Yeah. Good for Philip. Was his family religious growing up too, or was it something he found on his own?
Yeah. Very religious. Conservative, like Christian, kind of like how I was. And they were homeschooled.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So extra good for him for moving to New York, because that's tough. To go from being
really
homeschooled to being in New York City.
And you're from Maine, so like the
Yep.
whole northeastern like lifestyle is gorgeous in every
Absolutely.
state up there. So, and also very stylistic to the state. So the whole
Yes.
Pennsylvania thing, it's like Red Barn, you know, farm dog
Right.
and just like tractor and like all that,
The whole
you
thing.
know, Rockwell painting thing. And so that the fact that he wanted to move to New York, everyone was like, wow,
Right.
you're not going to make it, you know.
I was
He
so
did.
surprised in the interview where you said that it was more a bigger culture shock moving from Texas to Oklahoma than Oklahoma to New York City.
It was. Yeah.
That's that is really surprising because I would think of, I don't know what I would picture Oklahoma City as, but not, I don't know. I picture it small. Is that totally wrong?
I mean, then where I came from Texas was even smaller.
Mm,
And also there was no YouTube. There was no exposure to every other part of the world like
Right.
there is now. And also luckily it was the first experience of diversity that I had because I did not grow up in a diverse culture. I grew up in South Texas where it's puro Mexicano, Tejano, like Tex-Mex people. And all I wanted to do was be white. Like
Really?
I was not proud.
Were there a lot of white people, but there weren't a lot of white people around, or there were?
One white kid
Really?
in my class. Like it's very, very heavily populated Mexican. And we're literally 40 minutes from the border of Mexico. So it makes sense.
Do you think you
But-
idolized it because of like TV, or where do you think was there a moment where you were
idolizing whiteness.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
know that it's everywhere to be.
to be blonde, to be skinny, to be blue-eyed. There was just some things about the culture that I was not realized that I was either taking advantage of or I just didn't want to be. Like I didn't want to make tortillas and be a mom. Like I just didn't. And I don't know about any state culture, but like the Texas culture is like, again, like it's secluded. It's,
Sure.
you know, lots of flat farmland. You're in the farming business. And then high school was just like mean on top of that. So
Sure.
like I related that to just my culture, not that
Oh,
girls
that's
are
so
mean.
interesting.
I thought Mexican women are mean.
That's so interesting, but also so many times people associate their hometown with, like, they're like, I hate that place, but it's because you're associating it with that time period in your life.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
was there a moment where you're like, oh, this isn't about that, where you like came into
Oklahoma
feeling,
City. When I moved and like, you know, and also like it's a very national school, the dance program. So like people from Maine, people from
Right.
Hawaii and like Ohio and New York State even like came to the school for the dance program. So I got a full sense of diversity and I finally was proud because I was away from it to be
Right.
Mexican American.
right, get to come into your own.
Yeah.
Now, only if you feel comfortable sharing this. I remember you said it once. What was your tip that you had for auditions? I remember where you walk around the block.
Oh
you-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. My I do this in accountability coaching too, is it's like the wallowing marker of like well in New York, I don't know if
Ooh,
we even have one.
I need to
think
do that. A wallowing marker.
there's a boundary. You have to
Yes,
set a wall. You have to set a boundary.
yes,
So in New
yes.
York City, you walk a lot and there's
Right.
blocks. The building that you audition in, that block, the sidewalk is the border of the zone that you can wallow in your audition. And once you cross the street, you can't think about it anymore and you have to let it go. Whether it
You're
went
done.
well or whether it went horribly. Make a phone call, revel, eat, and think about it because you're starving after audition because your body finally relaxes. Like all of that. Celebrate it or cry about it, but that's the only place you can do it. You can't bring it home. You can't. And then, like you can like say how'd it go? It went like this, but you're not
Right.
so emotionally attached to it. Like let go
Can't
of the
wallow.
emotions of it. You can't wallow.
Can't wallow.
And so once I like, and sometimes I can sit there for half an hour and call someone and be like, this is how well it went. I think I'm
Right.
getting it. I don't know. But then you run out of time because you got to move on. And so, but you have to cross the street. So you
Right.
have to hang up and you have to let it go.
You can stay in that place as long as you want, but the second you're putting a physical marker to it's a very good idea.
Yeah. It was very helpful.
Well, thank you so much for doing the show. I really
Oh my
appreciate it. And
gosh.
where can people find you online?
My name, Gabrielle Ruiz on Instagram. I do not TikTok. I do not Snapchat and I barely tweet.
Oh, I do not to this day. Twitter and me have never. I just don't understand who I'm supposed to be talking to on Twitter.
I think it's like, you know, the new Craigslist for us, I guess, but then I kind of like the only thing I like about Twitter is it's shorthanded news.
Sure. Yes, I like
You
that.
know?
I like that. And sometimes there's people I'll like following, like that I'll go on and I go, oh, good. But yeah, I also
But
so I
promoting
relate to
stuff
that.
there and like updating my profile and all that, or like checking my count of like
Sure.
engagement, all Instagram.
Okay, so check Gabrielle out on Instagram. Thank you so much for doing the show.
I love you, Beth.
I love you.